It is done. We all knew it was going to happen at some point.
Yep.
I don't know that we thought it. I mean, we didn't think the Spanos family had the cojones. I don't know if you saw. We tweeted out what they said, that we're tired of this shit and all this and that. I posted on our YouTube channel. By the way, guys, sorry I could not make it yesterday. Horrible headache. Still have a headache, but I wanted to hop on. So let's just talk really quickly. Staley's no longer with us. He's going to be working at McDonald's drive-thru here pretty shortly.
He's McLoving it right now. He is.
He's McLoving it. You know, Brandon Staley's at Walmart at the moment. You know, and again, you know, Homer's sitting here thinking, oh, this actually happened. Okay, so, you know, guys, lots to discuss, guys. So, you know, let's get into it and get ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm Dale Henley. You watching the Boat Bros podcast? Let's do it!
Okay, guys. Yes. So, yes, this would be my pick. We're going to talk more about that too. Lockdown. Yes, it did happen.
Yep.
Not a fan of Belichick, but we could keep going into these conversations. But again, fire Staley, fire Telesco, sell the team, San Diego Chargers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the whole thing about it is, you know, Dean Spanos, you know, made a bold move. I mean, this is the first time that the Spanoses, or second time, excuse me, that they fired a coach in the season. Possibly a little late. You know,
should have happened a while ago.
Should have happened a while ago. Could have happened after that Jaguars game. I mean, they have incurred with Brandon Staley one of the worst playoff losses in the history of playoffs, pretty much being up whatever it was, 27-0, to the worst regular season loss for the franchise too. Hey, we didn't get 70 dropped on us, Broncos fans, if you're on there. We didn't get 70, all right? But, hey, we got to make a move, and they had to make a move. And at this point, it's who knows? I mean, the one thing I'm going to say, and when I was over here hearing this news and all that, I do feel that Spanos listened to the fans.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. I do think that there's other things they should clean up a little bit. You like to see that they at least made a move for once and made a bold move at the right time. But goodness gracious, man, like after a beatdown like that last night, this had to happen. It was the nail in the coffin.
So it's also a respect thing too, right? Folks,
Agreed.
Like, think of it this way. If this man did not do anything, guess what? You'd be the laughing stock of the NFL.
Big time.
Like, I'm already laughing at how stupid his glasses are right there. But secondarily, I mean, at least he's not Mark Davis. Is it Mark Davis, the guy, the Raiders head coach with that stupid haircut?
Well, Al Davis and Mark Davis, I think, both had terrible haircuts anyway.
Exactly.
So I think
exactly.
So barber,
like father, like son. Apple doesn't fall from the tree. But you know, guys, like bottom line, I mean, look, it became like a zoo, right? Like completely. And again, yes, especially a beatdown by the Raiders. I can understand maybe a team that's in the playoff hunt. Interim head coach with a rookie quarterback that didn't even score a single point the week before, and they hang 63 on you guys. 60 freaking 3. Now, again, all the above. But, hey, kudos to John Spanos, too, for also letting go of Tom Telesco. My concern was that, you know, I know they're boys and they're big friends, you know, and but, you know, hey, look, sometimes you got to make a decision, right? And, you know, there's something to be said. So let's read what was actually said on the Charger page.
Yep.
And let's go through that real quick, just because I kind of want to see what the Spanos has said specifically. Chargers part ways with the head coach, Tom Pelissero. Okay, so part ways with the head coach, Brandon Staley. This is, you know, again, obviously this is just some sort of assistant probably wrote this or whatever. I'm fairly certain.
Sure.
I want to thank Tom and Brandon for their hard work, dedication, professionalism. Wish both of them great families, nothing but the best. Dean chairman, dean of the sport, Dean Spanos. These decisions are never easy, nor something to be taken lightly, especially when you consider the number of people that it impacts. And it does, guys. I think this is going to be a mass wipe. Like, it's gone. And it needs to happen, guys. We're getting a new practice facility. It's $500 million. I already spent $500 million just to come to LA. And you can't mess around like that in LA, not in the market. We are clearly not what we expected to be. However, we need new vision. I think that's this is the right word, in my opinion, right? Because Brandon Staley's vision just never materialized. Just nothing. Same with Tom Telesco. Whatever they decided, whatever they wanted, it did not work.
Yeah.
Doing nothing in the name of continuity was not a risk we were willing to take.
Yep. Well,
thank God.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing too, and when I see a new vision, I feel like it's almost like they have to have a new standard as an organization.
Yep.
The standard has to be not going to this point of, hey, this guy seems like it just fits the bill for the wage that we want to pay.
Yep.
Let's look at, hey, you want championship level football. Let's get to that level. Let's make championship based moves. And, obviously with Tom Telesco and his whole reign, I mean, we could chat a lot about that, but a lot of choices just to fill holes needed, but not really like making championship bold based moves. And that's really, really tough, man. It's tough to watch that, but go ahead and I guess read a little bit more into this.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah. And again, our fans have stood strong through many ups and downs and close games. We have excelled at losing close games.
Agreed.
We have made it like a verb, chargering, right? And I thought about that a lot. I mean, when I read this, I was like, wow, I really appreciate what he's saying here, because these are all the things that he's saying that I wanted to hear.
Yep.
They deserve more. Yes, we do.
Yep.
Yes, we do. Like, I mean, I don't want to be ungrateful, but dude, you have a stud ass quarterback in Justin Herbert, and he's running for his life every week against the Broncos. Jesus, man, he was dry humped up and down the field.
Well,
and Herbert deserves more, not just us as fans.
Yeah.
Frankly, they've earned more. Building a maintenance championship caliber program remains our ultimate goal, and remaining and reimagining how we achieve that goal begins today. So, anyways, a lot to discuss and unpack there.
Yeah, a lot. And that's a very, very good statement. And I really do hope that comes directly from the Spanos or Dean Spanos, because that's a very well written, statement. Now, once again, I'm going to say, action speaks louder than words, guys. Put your money where your mouth is. Like, I am this person that is tired as a fan to sit there and say, let's keep going to the cheap guy. Let's keep going to the hot shot guy. Dude, you have an opportunity. I mean, if the reports are correct, Belichick's going to get let go. It's up to you if you want to do that.
Yeah.
People in the chat are talking about, hey, that guy's got a top 10 defense with scraps right now. And you don't even know who the actual
scraps, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Gerard Mayo and basically Steve Belichick are basically the defensive coordinators, and they got a good defense. They just have zero offense. Now, Bill O'Brien should not be the offensive coordinator, period. That guy's terrible. Obviously, same thing with McDaniels, too. He should not be the coordinator by any means, but you got guys out there that Jim Harbaugh, I'm going to talk a lot about Jim Harbaugh. Like, that would be my absolute dream situation if they go after that. And that's a championship power move to go after that guy. So, we can talk a lot. I've talked, I think, ad nauseum level of that, which I feel like I got a little bit of a conspiracy brain about what's potentially happening right now. And I talked about it in the live last night if you guys were with us.
Yeah. And again, apologize, guys, for not being there. I had a migraine. It was absolutely horrible. So, so there's a lot to discuss here, guys. And again, as much as, you can, I was reading some comments this morning, and people are like, well, why let go of Telesco? But like, dude, it's a complete wipe that needs to happen. And by the way, just so you guys know, at the very end, it says an interim head coach and general manager will be announced within short order. So, that needs to happen at some point. We don't know who that's going to be. Now, we're going to speculate again. We all know Staley's been let go, and obviously Telesco's been let go. Guys, Telesco, I would just say this about Telesco. We are in salary cap hell.
Oh, yeah.
and say what you want to say about who chose to bring who in, like, JC Jackson, whoever, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter, dude. He's the money guy, and we are 40 million over the cap next year.
Yep.
With, dude, like, he did not leave this organization well, right? It's a bad investment. You cut your losses, you move on, and that it is what it is. And so, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Kyle. Hey, bro.
And it's an interesting thing with some of the reports that got leaked, how true they are or not. But, John Spanos basically wanted Brandon Staley. Telesco wanted Brian Dable.
Yep,
and
Brian Dable. Yep.
That's the whole thing that kind of happened there, that, there was a disconnect there too. But I mean, sounds like John Spanos and, Telesco are best buds, cooler buddies, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, who knows? I kind of almost wonder if there's going to be a shift even with John Spanos' position, if he's really going to even be involved, like, in that level anymore. I mean, player personnel type stuff, day-to-day type stuff. Like, he's an owner. You can't get rid of him. I mean, that's plain and simple. You can't get rid of him. But at the same side, you could put him in a different position where he's going to have less hands-on with things. And
that's a good point. And Kevin, you're exactly right. Like, you can get away with, to some degree, mediocrity in San Diego, not in LA, dude.
Nope.
Not in LA. And it's guys, I mean, we obviously know that was an embarrassing loss. I would say that was probably the worst loss than even Jacksonville in the playoffs, in my opinion, because you could clearly see the team just gave up on everybody. They're just done. It's like, sorry, we're done, and it's just garbage. And, but you're right, Kevin, he needs to step up and do something. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're probably having conversations with Harbaugh right now. Okay, what's it going to take? You want 15 million a year? All right, let's do it. And again, I think it's going to be one of these two. My pick would be Ryan Ficken. I don't know what your thoughts are, James.
Yeah, it's got to be either of those two. I mean, even to say, I would probably lean a little bit more on Kellen Moore in the sense, and reason why, just because they hired him because of a reason. They wanted to see what he could do.
Sure.
I'm going to say his offense is terrible. Not very good, in my opinion. I mean, how many first down runs? I mean, going even to last night, 3rd and 1, what do we do? Run up the gut. No gain. I think maybe
unbelievable.
Maybe a yard loss. All right, what do we do? Go for it on 4th down. Literally the same exact play, no gain. That's turnover on downs. Like, it's really frustrating. Who's making those calls? Now, once again, there's people that have chatted about saying, Brandon Staley might actually be doing some of the play calling for the offense too. So, I mean, too much, man.
It could have been happening that way as well too. And, look, we all know what it's like to be laid off, right? James, you and I are both in very high paced environments, and tech sales tough, dude. I mean, it is what it is. It's a production based business. It is what it is, but so is the NFL, right? And that's just part of it, right? And
based 100%.
Yeah, and Derek Ainsley might even be, the one that could take. I don't know. It'll be one of those three. I think it'll be. My choice would be Ficken. But again, I think Ficken's probably the right guy.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say too, even there's articles stating that they have cleaned house. Multiple people have gotten let go. So there's like even an idea that it's like, I mean, obviously you still got 3 games. You still got, you need a coaching staff to play. Right. But at the same side, cleaning house could also mean, like, on multiple levels, a lot of people are gone. And, I know obviously Tom Telesco, Brandon Staley's gone, but at the same side, there's a good chance it could be a lot more other people getting let go. I mean, clearly last night, coaching did not work out. I mean, obviously, Dicker for the interim coach. Let's go. I mean, he's one of our most consistent players. Like, let's go. But either which way, it'd be interesting to keep you guys posted on all that. I mean, it's going to be a clean house situation at this point.
It will be. And guys, look, there's just so much to be discussed. I mean, and again, there's going to be tons of, we're going to do tons of little videos. I like this. Jimmy Johnson, the GM. I think he's been out of it for a long time. Jimmy Johnson always cracked me. His hair is like perfect. Looks like a hat or something, But this is a big conversation too, right? Whoever the GM is going to be, they got to come in and clear it out. Here's the one thing I will say, and I thought about this a lot last night with my absolutely splitting headache. I was laying in bed way early. And I, obviously, I wasn't on the live last night, but I sat there for a second. I said, who would want this GM job? I would say someone that is willing to make hard decisions, because guys, Brandon Staley stuck with players for way too long, right? Extending, Mike Williams, and don't get me wrong, Mike Williams is a great wide receiver, but some tough decisions need to be made. I mean, you probably need to start trading some players off. Hell, might even be Keenan Allen. I know that's not a popular conversation, but he's got value at this point, and you could trade him away for maybe a second round pick, somebody else, and he's getting older, and he has injury issues, right? So, dude, these would be my two right here. These would be my two. I understand the whole Ben Johnson. He's a first-time head coach, all the above. But here's my point: he at least can get the most out of Justin Herbert, and you want him to be happy. I am so scared for the day when Justin Herbert goes, "I want to be traded." Shit, we're screwed, right? He's, done deal. So, anyways, there's a lot to discuss on that.
Lot to discuss, and in the whole thing in perfect segue right into Jim Harbaugh here with his Chargers jersey number 55, Junior Seau right there. So last night on the live, I talked a lot about the whole Jim Harbaugh situation, and so media manipulation, guys. What if that was just somebody within the Harbaugh camp throwing out to some media guy and say, "Hey guys, Michigan's basically giving me an offer, or giving him an offer of $11 million for a 5-year base contract." You can put whispers into any reporter's ear, and then it just goes like wildfire from that. Oh, he's got this on the table now. I mean, for most head coaches or coaches in general, if you get something pushed like that at that moment in time, you probably would sign that, right? I think really what it was is that he was basically just throwing that news out there to let the NFL, I'll say football world, here's my base right now. Tell me you could give me that. If you could give me that, I'm in. And why would he not sign it right now? Because he wants to see this move, which I was talking about, of getting rid of Tom Telesco, Brandon Staley, is to communicate with him directly. Okay, we did it. Do you want this job? He talked heavily about loving Justin Herbert. This is his chance to make that move. I mean, I think it was an absolute perfect move for Brandon, or excuse me, the Spanos, Dean Spanos, to make Brandon Staley, whatever. But either which way, this is a perfect move for the Spanos, is to make this switch now and communicate with him. We have a job available for you. Do you want this job or not? I think it's a great move, and I would be so excited about next season if Jim Harbaugh was the head coach. Absolutely excited. But
and again, if you're talking about a real change, a commitment to change, that would be the way to go.
A massive commitment to change. That's the right move. I mean, go back to, in simple fact of it is, when we had some of the best years as a or as a franchise, go to just the mid 2000s. Marty Schottenheimer's been in the league forever. He was obviously had a lot of issues in the playoffs and everything like that, but he made quality teams. Norv Turner inherited basically the Marty Schottenheimer team. We got to an AFC championship game with him. We had teams that were quality. Now, once again, they had their own problems to each one of those hirings, but guess what? The common denominator with that, experienced guys, experienced head coaches, guys that know how to be able to put teams together. Obviously, it deteriorated over time with Norv Turner and everything, but that's how it kind of works. Generally, it's very tough to be able to be a franchise like the Patriots for 20 years of dominance. But the same side, coaching makes a massive difference in how your team operates top to bottom in game in, game out type situations.
Yeah. Well, and I think who's calling next move? I think it's going to be the whole family, right? They've got to make a decision. And guys, this to me, I will just say this, going back to the Spanos family a little bit. I'll get some more slides ready to go, but bottom line, they need to really show the fans they're committed, right? And they have to make a splash. What does he say in the mask? I got to have some green to make a scene, right? And our sister Becky says it all the time. I got to have some green to make a scene, right? And you're in LA, guys, the most superficial, probably city in the world almost.
Yep.
You know, it's
Agreed.
horribly superficial, right? So.
Yep.
And so my point is, you know, it's a joke, right? So they've got to show up. They got to open up their pocketbook. You committed to come to LA, you know, you make a splash, dude. And by the way, Bolt, tell us about the Raiders tailgate. I bet you it's probably garbage. I mean, I don't even know that they even tailgate there. I mean, it's pretty horrible.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I don't even know if they do around that stadium at all. But you know, I do wonder, and I did see some pictures from the Bolt Pride, you know, or diehard Bolt Club type, you know, tailgates. And it seemed cool, you know, but I'm sure there's probably light amount of fans there pretty much at that point. Cause I mean, I think most people are pretty down on this team at this point. So
yeah. And we're probably going to do some videos. I saw so many interesting videos last night. I mean, they were talking about Darius Davis and, you know, the one thing I will say, Andrew, about this is I can't remember who it was. What's that?
Did you see that via, well, actually Chargers just announced it. Griff Smith, he is, I believe, the offensive line coach for the Chargers, the interim head coach.
What?
And JoJo Wooden is the interim general manager.
Wow.
That's an odd move.
That's a really
move. Well, the thing about Griff, he's been with the Chargers for a pretty good amount of time. Maybe they're just like, hey, man, it's that time to bring him in. You know, maybe that's just the deal that they're just going to put him. Oh, it's offensive outside linebacker for Griff Smith. I thought he was the O-line for some reason, but that's an odd choice. Very odd.
Well, he's interim. I mean, you know, you got to wonder, like, maybe. Wait, where are you seeing that at? Can you pull it up on the screen?
Yep, I'll pull it up on there. I got the Twitter right now.
Yeah, JoJo hasn't been the best scout either. So yeah, that's interesting. Oh, here we go. Oh, Griff. Oh yeah, actually, I like Griff Smith. He's the edge rushing coach, basically. Yep. Here we go.
Yeah. So
very interesting.
That's an interesting move all around. You know, JoJo Wooden too. You know, I'm not too familiar on JoJo, but I would probably say they're just trying to fill the gaps for the moment, in my opinion. You know, JoJo's been basically with the team since 2013, so essentially he's been under. He's director of player personnel, so he basically came in exactly the same time as Tom Telesco. So he oversees the team's pro college scouting departments. That's generally where general managers get made. You know, with Griff Smith, you know, I want to say that he's been with this team for a really long time too. He is the outside linebacker coach for the Chargers. And let me see here. He was 6 seasons also with this team, I believe, before that. So as the defensive line. So odd, really odd. Really odd.
Wow. You know, guys, so Smith is a 30-year coaching veteran, Chargers since 2016, 12. Well, hey, you know, where that's a good thing. So let me just my general thoughts. He's not going to be the head coach long term. We know that. JoJo is not going to be the head or the GM long term anyways. But at least at this point, hey, Giff, can you just step in and coach this team a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you've been with us a long time. They obviously know the Spanos family. Makes sense. And yeah, but Wooden's been the player personnel. Man, I just really hope they don't leave him there. I want to see some stud, dude. I want to see some guy that's going to go out and make some. Moore is still there. No, everybody's still there. But you know, again, interim is interim, right? It's only going to be temporary. I mean, I definitely don't see them keeping them going that direction. But again, they probably just wanted somebody. They said, okay, who do we feel comfortable just taking over? I mean, look at what happened with Saturday at the Colts, right?
Yeah.
Disaster. I remember interesting story about that. I watched him, what he said about taking over that role. He said, hey, just so you know, we're not going to win any games. We're not going to win any games. And he's like, he said that to the owner of the Colts. And he's like, well, we just need somebody there. We just need somebody that I could trust and I believe in. I think that's what this is. We want somebody that we trust, that we know. And clearly these are the guys that they felt like, all right, let's give them a shot and give them an opportunity to, you know, take over for a little while.
You know, it's interesting about JoJo though. He's got a lot of experience, and you would hope at this point it's not just to your point. Yeah, I mean, there is a sense that you want to be able to have continuity within your organization to be able to elevate these type guys into positions. You obviously, the natural progression for somebody in a job is that you don't want to always be at the bottom. You want to get to the top. And you would hope that they would make the right move of not doing that. But at the same side, that's a very Charger move. If they decide to keep JoJo Wooden there, JoJo Wooden actually did get requested to be interviewed for the Bears GM job last year or two. So it possibly is a hot name.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to set a standard, don't set a standard with what's in your organization already. You want to try to find guys that actually are going to be maybe outside thinkers from the current organization. Sometimes it's about cleaning house and cleaning the vibe throughout. And, different minds make big differences too. And I mean, I don't know.
I would push back on that a little bit. Think about this for a second. You got Shane Steichen, who's the head coach.
I guess that's true.
You got Nick Sirianni, who's the head coach at the Eagles. You got the list is. In fact, I should do a video on that because I was trying to figure out how many head coaches have come from the Chargers organization or been part of the Chargers. They have let so much talent slip through their fingers. So again, I don't know JoJo Wooden. I wouldn't know him from a hole in the wall, like if I saw him on the street or anything like that. But look at that. He's been there a long time, guys. That's a long time. So and he's been with the Jets, so who knows, right? I mean, what I want to see is a hustler, right? I want to see a hustler. And like someone like this. The one thing I will say about this, and James, I want your thoughts, and in the chat, what's your thoughts on this too? When you're trying to retain someone like, well, I'm assuming they're making this move largely just to try and retain Justin Herbert.
Yep.
When you draft someone like a Marvin Harrison Jr., the number one wide receiver in the draft, what does that say?
Yep.
I'm going to get you the weapons you need.
Yep.
So that's good, right? Because like an offensive lineman, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I think it's important also, but like, I don't know.
Go back to even say to the last draft. Remember we did a live stream.
Yeah,
we're like, oh, pick 21. Oh, whoa, we got Zay Flowers ready to go.
Zay Flowers is our dude.
Jordan Addison. Like we got a pick of the litter here, guys. All right, 21 pick is Quentin Johnston. We're all looking around like,
who the hell is this?
What? Like, I mean, literally, I don't even remember talking about Quentin Johnston. Now, I'm not saying this in the sense of any knock on Quentin Johnston and what's going on with him and everything too. But I mean, you kind of look at that move as like, man, that really didn't settle well quickly for the fans. Even at like the draft party with the fans too, they were like, huh? Like, yo, you could have got these guys. I mean, he's getting outplayed than all those other draft picks, even further based, down the road type round picks. It's kind of just being odd moves for the draft side of things. Like if JoJo Wooden ends up being the GM, you just hope that he's going to be better at looking at talent. I mean, I don't know if it was Telesco that made the move. It was, Brandon Staley that made those choices or whatever it is. But hey, those two minds are gone now. Now hope for the best ahead from this point on, guys. Like, hope for the best.
Well, so I'm going to give you my general thoughts on all of just even head coaches, right? Yep. It's tough, right? Because you could sit back all day and say, well, we had a defensive head coach. Let's get a defensive head coach. If the argument is you want to continue to keep Justin Herbert happy, then I think you need to get a offensive minded head coach because he's going to be the guy that he's going to ride or die with. I think Herbert should be involved in the interview process as well, too. I think he should, sit down. Do you feel comfortable with him? What do you think? Ben Johnson is the guy if you want to look for an offensive minded head coach, but Jim Harbaugh is a weirdo. I hear that guy is a freaking strange duck, man. I hear that dude is just freaking weird, but he wins. And but I think this is the Eagles OC. I'm drawing a blank on his name for the life of me. God, what's his name?
Yeah, I can pull it up. His name is well, it's not Nick Sirianni. Well, he does a lot of the offensive side of things. Brian Johnson.
Brian, that's right. Yeah. So Ben Johnson, Brian Johnson. Wow, that's not confusing.
Not at all.
Yeah, but I think these 4 guys are good choices. Look, Dan Quinn, guys,
and Kellen Moore together, keep them continuity in a sense. That's
not
a bad choice.
Yeah. So again, there's going to be a lot of discussions around all of that. We could talk about all this stuff till we're blue in the face. I mean, really, but man, but again, guys, like, I just feel like, look, it needed to happen, and you never want to see somebody get laid off, but dude, let me throw out a statistic here for you. I did this video, I think it was last week. Since Brandon Staley has been the offense or the head coach and the defensive coordinator, obviously, Chargers have ranked 23rd on average in total defense in basically the entire time he's been the head coach. Now, this year, we are 29th, and technically we're going to be we're going to be 32nd now this year. And we are also 30th in ranked in points allowed for all 3 seasons underneath Staley. All 3 seasons, guys. Whew.
We got a resume and we got a track record. We got a pattern here, guys. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, you have to move on from something like that. If you came onto this team as this defensive guru and getting these results like this, you should be gone. You should be gone. Like, that's what it is.
So let me ask you a question, James, and also the chat. So again, this is a great conversation, right? Potential GMs, because there was somebody made a comment, and I used to think this way at the beginning of the season. It's changed a lot this year, and I'll just let me hide that. There we go. Who's more at fault, the GM when a player doesn't work, or the coach? What's your thoughts, James? And in the chat, what's your thoughts? Like, Quentin Johnson, a great example, right? Would it be? So, who do you think, the GM or the head coach?
The fault for those decisions, basically.
Who's more at fault?
I think it's whoever really put the full decision on that. Like, but also you could even say scouting too. But I mean, scouting's only really do so much where they're saying, hey, look, this is what this guy does. This is what he does well. This is what he does not do well. But at the same side, it's ultimately the guy who made the decision. Now, you go to this point where it's like the Spanoses do get a little bit involved in decision-making, especially with head coaching side of things. Like, and I'm saying this in a sense of, player versus, internal components of a team and how it works. But it's hard to say. When Tom Telesco came out earlier this year, when they let go J.C. Jackson and he apologized to the whole team, that probably was a Tom Telesco decision more than a Brandon Staley based decision. If Tom Telesco came out and said that, the sad part of it is in this time, in this point of where Tom Telesco has been through 3 head coaches and, the results have been bad. He's got an under 500 record as a GM. It was kind of a package deal at this point. So, it's kind of hard to say which one was the one, but it was really the one that ultimately made the decision. I mean, this is a results-based job, and if you make bad decisions, you got to basically find a way to correct it quickly. You kind of look at like the Niners and what John Lynch did with, Trey Lance. Bad decision, bad trade. What do they do? Get rid of him. We got it. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, balling out for us right now. Potentially, in my opinion, could be that Super Bowl candidate this year to get to the Super Bowl for sure. So, you gotta be swift on your feet when you make bad decisions. You can't just let it hang around.
So Calvin, yeah, definitely. James, and I will actually be in Arizona. I'm actually going to be driving down there this weekend for the holidays, and I'll be staying in Arizona for quite some time, most likely. So, get a hold of Bolt Pride 602, and definitely get involved. We could get you hooked up.
Backyards in Scottsdale is where a lot of guys meet up for games to watch too. So that's basically, if I go to any spot, that's generally where I end up going. There's a little crew there too.
Yep. So it's Bolt Bros Podcast at Gmail. Hit us up, Calvin. We'll get you hooked up.
Yep.
So going back to my question, and again, I'd love to see the whole Spanos family gone. And Kyle, I'm with Kyle on this. I feel like a focus on the coach more.
Yep.
But the GM's supposed to suss out if players are actually going to work out. I agree. See,
it's tough. Yeah.
I think the GM has to just kind of run everything as a whole, as an umbrella, but the coaches have to actually the coach's job is to do one thing: put the players in the right position to win and perform at their best. What I saw yesterday was none of that.
None.
I mean,
None.
I saw a legitimate shit show, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And so that's coaching, right? So I'll put on the coaching more. I mean, I would say the GM is maybe 25, but you have to remember, when someone is drafted, it's not just the GM making a decision. There's just not him in the room going, okay, I want that guy.
Yep.
There's 20 people in a room making the decision in real time to go with who they go with, so
the one thing I was going to say too is that no NFL franchise should be getting dropped 60 plus points on them, 70 plus points. They should not be doing it. I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to Sean Payton, because after that 70-point throttling that they ended up getting from the Dolphins, technically that should be, in my opinion, that was a showing that he lost the locker room. Basically, he lost the locker room. But whatever he ended up doing after that game, I mean, they figured out something, because I mean, they've been on a roll since that point. And this last night was, he lost this team because this team did not care at all at that point.
Yeah, and it sucks, right? Because Khalil Mack is having a career year, right? I mean, does he stay? Does he leave? Does Herbert ask for a trade? And by the way, Andrew Dang, yes, message us. I will be there. I'll be in Arizona probably Monday. So, and then James and I will be there. We could go. Let's link up. Let's go grab some food and talk about the game. So, love to. The whole reason why we did this channel is to do that, guys. So, and this 4 fumbles in a row was a complete joke. Guys, I couldn't even believe how bad our offensive line play has been. I didn't think it could be worse. By the way, I'm going to say one thing also. If you guys watched my pregame show after we talked about like Keenan Allen going down, I said, all right, the offensive game plan should be some RPOs. Let's try and get the run game going. Let's get Easton Stick's legs going. We did none of that.
None of it.
We did none of that. And I'm like, why are you not doing that? Right. You got a young head coach. You got a young quarterback coming in, has not played hardly at all. Go back to what they know. And he knows RPO, right?
100%.
Dude, the guy had 41 rushing touchdowns at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
41. Like, it makes no sense. Makes no sense. So
absolutely. It's ridiculous.
So, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Okay, let's see what Kyle has to say here. I believe Keenan Allen sat out. Yep, I agree. I agree.
And it was a sabotage. And once again, the whole thing, it goes to show how much a team and people that could rally together to get somebody let go and make a change. I mean, the results on the field tell everything at that point. And it was shocking to think that. I mean, I was kind of expecting them to roll with Brandon Staley and Telesco till the end of the year. And this is the second time the Spanos has ever fired somebody mid-season. And
25 years. 25 years ago,
5 years, man. So it's been a while to see that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I mean, at this point, it's wild. I wanted to put something up on the screen here, and this is betting odds. Betting odds of who's going to be the next,
let's check this out.
Betting odds of who's going to be the next head coach. Bill Belichick, 3-1, guys.
Wow.
Frank Smith, 4-1. That's an interesting one. You got Kellen Moore at 4-1, Ben Johnson, 7-1, Bobby Slowick, which is he the coordinator for? I want to say he's for the Texans. Is that right? Bobby Slowick. I don't know. I don't know if they're just making up a name or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Bobby Slowick. That's great. Yeah, post that on wait, who's that? Mark Daniels? Yeah.
So
we got to post that on our YouTube channel too.
Brian Flores 9-1, Jim Harbaugh 9-1, Bieniemy 10-1, Dan Quinn 14-1, Gerard Mayo 14-1, and Lincoln Riley 14-1, which is interesting to think Lincoln Riley would get that jump. Interesting thing about the Gerard Mayo. That's been a lot of rumors that he's going to be the head coach for the Patriots after the season. It's almost been talked about already that he's going to be the guy next year. So interesting thing to see here, but I think it's a good little list just to kind of look at. Betting odds.
Yep.
What is your guys' thoughts? Really, the Bill Belichick being 3-1. Wow, that's interesting. That's a really, really interesting thing to see. So wild.
Yeah, and dude, Bill Belichick, man, that guy's a turd in a punch bowl, dude. That guy is about as fun as watching paint dry, dude. Now again, if the argument is, hey, bring him in for 3 years and he's going to retire, or make a succession plan, okay, fine. But oh my god, dude, that guy, I just don't know, dude. By the way, Fury, yes, Az, put the information down.
Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, put the information down. I know there's some folks in Arizona here, so just put it in the chat so people can reach out to you. Okay.
Yep, absolutely, guys. I mean, we definitely have. I mean, we don't personally have viewing parties, but at the same side, Bull Pride 602 generally has them with the Die Hard Bull Club, and then there's also a group that shows up at backyards too. So they have a good little crew there too. So I know there's a Facebook page too for it. I think it's Arizona Bolts. Is something like that, Arizona Charger fans or something like that. I'm actually going to look at it right now just so I could throw it out there for you guys. Chargers fans in Arizona is the page. There's a group there that does meet up constantly at backyards in Scottsdale, right off the 101.
Yeah, and again, it's a lot of fun. And again, I'll be there all 3 games. So will James. So we'll obviously get together somewhere. Maybe we'll even make an announcement on the page as well, just where we're going to be. And and again, it's interesting, man. I feel like there's just a lot that's got to be said here. I'm, you know what? I will say this. I applaud the Spanos family for doing this. I really do, because it is going against what they normally do. Because typically they just go, okay, we'll just take care of it in the off season. Let's just, kind of brush it off. But no, man, I'm glad they made a change. You're sending a message that this is unacceptable, right?
Yep.
And players get cut all the time. They get cut all the time. And let's not cry for Staley, folks. He's getting paid $4 million next year for sure. It's guaranteed money. And again, I don't want to diminish what he's been through. He's survived cancer, all the above, but he'll land on his feet somewhere. I don't know. There's just a lot to discuss about it.
It's such a hard job because the guy who basically gets a lot of the blame is like the guy that's always the face of the team.
Yep.
And the guy that's in the front of the cameras all the time is the guy that's going to be the scapegoat all the time. And, the thing is, though, I've been a big fan of Brandon Staley, and at the same side, it seems like it really, really just got worse this year. And it just seems like we have a pattern here, guys. It's the same thing all around where the defense is not going, working out. Seems like the same crap all over again, every single game. I'm really, really interested to see what the players saying. Why I'm bringing that up is when Gus Bradley got fired from the Jaguars, I remember very specifically reading an article that Jalen Ramsey talked about Gus Bradley's defense. He said, look, literally we went into every single game with the same exact gameplay. Game plan, exactly the same every single game. And when we sit here and look at these games, we're seeing, Brandon Staley's defense literally doing the same thing over and over again. Like, we're not seeing anything different. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit of change, but dude, you're supposed to be, after 30 games of being a head coach, you're supposed to understand, hey, where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, where can I change and adjust? Kind of never really did that.
Well, so not only that, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I thought he was going to get let go after the Broncos game. I know James and you and Kyle both didn't think that was going to happen. It's like, now I think it's going to happen, and he didn't. But again, when you get embarrassed on national television, and you were also embarrassed in the playoffs last season. By the way, guys, just so you know, I promise you, there was probably a discussion, we're going to fire you, right? Yep. Then I guarantee Staley sat him down and said, you're already paying me. Why not give me one more year to just get the ship right? We are so close. I promise you there was some form of pleading, give me my job. Let me finish this, yada, yada. I want to finish what I started.
this is the reason why, because of the short week. I think
Could be.
I chatted
Yeah,
about
could
that.
be.
I mean,
Yep.
they were like, hey, we don't want to have too much of adjustment. Essentially, we have kind of a bye week right now.
Yep.
This is the time to make that shift. It was all designed, in my opinion.
Yep. And Corey, you're right. Right. You can bag on the Spanos family all you want, guys, but they spent freaking money, dude.
A lot of money.
And they're 40 million over the cap next year.
Yep.
So look, see, and just put that in perspective. That is crazy money. And they had this guy, I'll show you a picture of this guy. That was a complete shit show of a mess. I mean, this to me is the straw that broke the camel's back. Let me pull it up on the slides here.
Well, I'm going to say, I mean, the one thing,
right
you can say what Corey was saying here, it's the big thing is like, we got a $500 million facility coming in, and you need to have a big splash to make people get hyped about this team once again. And yeah, this whole JC Jackson situation, he's not even starting for the Patriots right now, by the way.
Nope.
You got a bunch of young bucks out there running around, and that defense looks really, really good. Or at least manageable for the Patriots. And they don't even have a defensive coordinator. They got two guys running the defense.
They got two guys. Yep.
So,
and yes,
insane.
Yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And yes, please reach out to us. We're going to be down in Arizona. We're going to go the next 3 games. Love to see you guys. Again, folks, just so you know, the whole reason why we started this was Kyle's idea. He's like, hey, let's do this. I didn't think it was going to even happen. I remember the first time we jumped on, James, I'm like, oh, are we even going to do this? And well, what the hell do we do? We didn't even know what we were doing. But the whole point was we just wanted to talk to fans and just connect. So please reach out to us. Shoot us an email. Let's hear. Bolt Bros Podcast
at gmail.com.
Yep. And then email us, please. Let us know. Hit us up and let us know where we're at for sure, because seriously, guys, like we want to have a conversation with you guys.
Fun.
And again, Andrew, yes, hit us up.
Yeah, and also just that last screen there was talking about updates on Justin Herbert's surgery. It sounded like it went well. It's about a 5 to 6 week recovery. The thing about it is, like, his finger broke basically at the bottom base level of things. So that was, well, actually, I think it was base of the middle. I'm not sure what it was, but
no, it was the base. It was the base.
Okay. The base of the finger. So that's a very, very critical finger, obviously, on your throwing hand. You need to be able to have that finger up to par. So I really hope that he's going to be able to grip the ball correctly at this point. I hope that he's not really thrown off or anything like that. So, but yeah, either which way, it sounded like it went successfully. And I mean, smart move and just the right move for the Chargers to shut him down for the season anyways.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point, right? I mean, like why have him out there anymore? At the end of the day, it is what it is. And look, guys, it's, what a frustrating season, man. I mean, truly, you just sit back and just, just absolutely horrible. Yeah. Avatar, what's up? Hey, yep. I mean, it is what it is, guys, but that's the NFL. I mean, look at how many, backup quarterbacks have started this season. And again, my biggest criticism against Kellen Moore was put together a game plan that works for Easton Stick, do something different. Right. And he's a different quarterback than Justin Herbert. He ran the same damn offense with Easton Stick. They didn't do anything different. It was the same thing. And I didn't think it would be possible for the offensive line to get worse, and it did. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Hit the like button of him getting fired.
Yeah. It's a mess. I mean, last night's game was a showing of how much this team basically communicated to the ownership. You got to make a move. And you know what? Look, we got plenty of talent on this team, guys. Plenty of talent. Now, next year is going to be an interesting one, trying to figure out exactly how to navigate through the salary cap situation. But it's going to be. This is going to be an interesting offseason, guys. It's a very, very interesting offseason. And, us sitting and potentially getting a 5th pick for the first round is a little bit of a leverage pick. There's a lot of quarterback needy based teams out there. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that people seem pretty hot on. The draft could be one of those things where we could make a shift. I mean, I brought up, AJ Smith's son, who is the assistant GM over at the Falcons. If we're going to dig back in the past, AJ Smith was a little bit of a wheeler dealer, and, that would be an interesting one to kind of look at as a GM. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about GMs, head coaches, all these kind of things about where we want to go with it. But it's going to be an interesting offseason, guys.
So Jay Nutt brought up an interesting point. Was Kellen in charge, or was Staley making the calls?
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was watching. It was Stephen Smith who said that. He talked specifically about how Darius Davis dropped that ball on that punt return, and all he didn't walk over and say anything to him as a rookie wide receiver. He didn't walk over and give him some encouragement or nothing. He just had his, thing in front of his face, and he was just calling plays. Never said anything to him. Never walked over, tried to cheer him up or anything. And that's bad, right? And again, I think you're right. I think he may have been telling Coach Moore what to say and what to do and what plays to call.
Yep.
And Kobayashi, I had a headache. I literally had a migraine. I watched the whole game and I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting worse. It's so bad. But it's tough, right? And clearly, I think the other thing too is I think he became a micromanager, right? I think what happened was he was micromanaging probably even both sides of the ball. I mean, what do you guys think in the chat here? It's horrible because it's you sit back and just say, well, what the hell happened there? And what I would say on this too, guys, I don't even know that Eckler wanted to come back in the game. I don't even know that Khalil Mack wanted to come back in the game.
Yeah.
What's the point of him even being out there at that point? So, yeah.
Yep.
And absolutely. I think that it's probably true. I do think Kellen Moore is going to go to Carolina. At least that's the rumor. Who knows?
Yep. Yeah, it's very hard for a lot of people to be able to want to come back into a game like that when you're starting to see just an absolute just catastrophe on field. At this point, the whole idea that I was thinking about last night watching that game was, I think these guys just want to be able to book their tickets to go wherever, what vacation they want to go on in the off season, and they just want to come out healthy. That's all it really is.
Well, and this is what happens with a manager when you're losing control. You try to micromanage, and that's the exact opposite, right? Yep. And you cannot do that, right? And so, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So, it's tough, man. I mean, it's one of those situations where you just have to sit back. And yes, so again, the interim head coach is Giff Smith, been with the Chargers for 12 seasons.
Yeah. And
JoJo Wooden, who basically is the director of player personnel. He's the GM. We talked about it a little while ago, so just wanted to let you know.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think they're good, but it also shows that they're not committed to them, right? Yep. They're just, okay, we know you guys can just go out there and do it. Interesting to see. It will be interesting also to see how. So let's just maybe wrap up and kind of final thoughts on the next couple of games. I'm curious to see how Kellen Moore actually runs the offense without Brandon Staley there. Yeah. I'm also curious to see how Derek Ainsley runs the defense without actually running the defense, right? So, because I suspect they'll probably go back to more of like a man coverage or more press man, a little bit more man type of, defense.
Yep.
But I think Kellen Moore will run the offense very differently now too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, guys. I mean, and it'll be great, right? Avatar, good to see you, of course.
Yeah, it's and just to say my final thoughts on this too, it's what would be insane is if, and we've had a lot of people say Brandon Staley should have got fired after 2-4 starting the season. He should have got fired, obviously, after the playoffs. What if all of a sudden we look like electricity in a bottle or whatnot, and all of a sudden 3-0, we're beating the good teams? Because, I mean, it's the schedule ahead is pretty tough. You got Broncos, Bills, and Chiefs. What if we go 3-0? What if we go 3-0? And it's like Chargers of them to be able to say, okay, you could have made a move and we could have been this.
Well, but you have to also remember, sports is also about momentum, right?
Yep.
100%. When you sit back and ask yourself this question, like a great example, look at the Raiders, look at even the Broncos. Broncos were 1-5. 1-5, and they got 70 points hung on them, and they turned it around.
Yep.
And so, and again, you're right. Ainsley was a puppet, but let's see what he actually does now, actually calling the plays. I've said it over and over again. Call the damn plays. Let Ainsley do his job. And remember, Brandon Staley said, nope, I'm more than capable of calling plays. You don't have to ask me again. You don't have to ask me again. It is, it's huge. And lightning bolt breakdown. This is kind of my thought. This is why I'm leaning towards, again, I know people don't want to hear first year head coaches, but Ben Johnson, dude, the things that he does as an offensive coordinator is spectacular. He made Jared Goff look like a god, and he sucks. He's not a great quarterback at all. Again, in the NFL, I'll just say one more thing. In perfect example, look at Brock Purdy, what the 49ers do with their offense compared to what we do.
Yep.
With underneath Lombardi, the offense, Herbert had to be perfect to make it work because it was all about getting one-on-ones, picking the one-on-ones, and then making the throw on the one-on-one, right? Allen's going to get open. He's not going to get, he's going to create separation. But those offenses, the Lions, the Niners, the Eagles, they create separations, and they make it very easy for the quarterback to be successful. Again, look at Brock Purdy. Not a lot of arm strength. Tom Brady was a great example. He did not have to do anything else. It was very simple and easy. And look at what Kellen Moore did with Cooper Rush.
Big time.
See, that's my point. I think, again, I suspect that Brandon Staley said, no, we're going to run the same offense. We're going to run the same defense. We're just going to keep going forward. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yep.
That's why he's not here with us anymore, guys. I mean, it is what it is. It sucks. So
it's bad. It's bad. But, next 3 games are going to be fun to watch in that sense of just seeing what it could have been or what differences of this defense offense could be. I mean, I'm interested to see that. I mean, do I expect us to win any games? Probably not. Not. But what it could have been, what if Griff Smith, what if we just see like a 3-game win streak against 3 really quality player or teams? What if? Yeah. Now, what if? I mean, beat the Chiefs, beat the Bills, beat the Broncos. What if? I mean, it would just be interesting. I mean, the whole issue with Tom Telesco, I think they put up 100-something games that we've been over, 100-something games or 1-score type games or something like that under Tom Telesco. It's over that number now. But, what if it was just really the GM? What if it was the coach choices? What if it was just those things? Maybe we're actually a team that could actually be a lot better. We have plenty of talent on the field. We've underachieved heavily. And,
well, also one of the highest salaries in the NFL.
Yeah.
The most expensive defense in the NFL, and we're the least, the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. Guys, clearly, you just have to look at that statistic and just know there's a disconnect, right? So, and again, see, I will say this. I always say this statement, pride cometh before the fall. I don't know if that's like a religious thought or what,
probably.
But you think about it for a second. He was unable to make any real adjustments to make this team win at all. And he didn't look, I mean, again, guys, we're YouTubers. I watch the all 22 footage. I'm seeing the same defense over and over again. And I'm like, why are we doing the same thing? Like the play calling in certain situation was so bad, I mean, anyway, we'll talk about it forever. I mean, well, the OC definitely is, at least right now, is Kellen Moore, right? So Kellen Moore is obviously going to be the guy. Yeah. So again, the only thing that's happened is we removed the head of the snake. The body's still the same, right? So he's gone. And now I don't know, man. By the way, I would say this too. Again, Isabel, your good point. I want to see Herbert be involved in the interview process.
Please.
Okay, so my thought is this: if I'm this, okay, let's just play owner for a second, James, you and I, just for 2 seconds. I know we're getting a little long-winded, but I know we got 200 people here. People want to talk. I know you had a lot of people last night too. But if I'm the owners, this is my team, my first call would be to talk to Justin Herbert. I'd sit him down. I'd say, Justin, I want you to know we're going to get you all the help you possibly need and could want, and then some. Secondarily, I want you involved in that conversation when we interview head coaching and coaching candidates.
Yep.
Are you on board with that?
Yep.
And then I would get his commitment that he's going to be involved in that conversation. Then secondarily, I want him to say, please be vocal and let us know exactly what you want.
Yep.
Don't just sit there and just expect us to make the right decision, because we're humans. We've made some poor decisions. I would fall on the sword. I would just say, hey man, we screwed it up. So you need to tell us, you are in the boat with us together. I've invested in you. You have invested in us. Let's make the right decision together as a team. That's my management. I've been a manager before, James. So, that's my manager conversation.
Even take it a step further too. What do you want to help you succeed further? Like, where do you want specific players? Do you want to be able to keep certain players? Do you want some players to be left behind? I mean, what do you want from this team to be able to succeed? I mean, the thing that's sad about like Philip Rivers' career is that he probably had a gap of 10 years of his career where it just seemed like he never had the support he needed to really succeed in a sense of the offensive line. I feel like it was like even throughout almost all of Tom Telesco's, reign, offensive line was always an issue, and he never was able to figure out how to build an offensive line. So I think that's another side of it too. Obviously, Justin Herbert's your money guy. That's your money maker. $262 million. And I mean, that contract's about to get going. And you have to basically have him 100% involved, the hiring, and then the players that are going to be on his team. He needs to be that guy. Draft side of things, get him involved too.
Well, I was actually just going to say that. I actually forgot to say it. I'm glad you brought that up, because I would want to see him involved in picks that he wants.
Yeah.
Put
him in the war room. Put him in the war room with everybody.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Like,
I've never understood why the quarterback is not there. Captains on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
The defense. Who's the captain of the defense? Derwin James.
Yeah.
You got Justin Herbert.
Put him here. Yeah.
You see Telesco talk to him. Have what's his nugget? Justin Herbert hop on the phone. Hey, you ready to get to work? Why not have that conversation?
Amazing.
I've always thought that was a weird thought for me. I'm like, why wouldn't he call? And now they probably talk to him later on, but a 1 second general discussion would be huge, right?
Just to say hello to the guy. Like I want to even say, like, I want to remember that like Quentin Johnson didn't even have a conversation with Justin Herbert till it seemed like a couple weeks after he got drafted.
It was crazy.
Which I'm like, dude, that's your guy. Like, you got to connect with him immediately. Like, you got to exchange numbers. Facebook's too,
Yeah. Yeah. Give me them digits. So remember, who was it? Justin Herbert said this. I cannot remember who asked the question to him. They said something like, he said something like, how did it get worded? Oh, basically he said, what do you think about the draft? This is before the draft. He's like, oh, you know what? I trust my coaches will pick the right people. And we'll just move forward.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that anymore.
No,
I want to see him get involved. I want to see him actually sit down and, hey, these are the people we're thinking. What do you think? Watch some footage with us. Get to know this person. Be involved in the discussion. It's important, right? Because we also need to see the emergence of Justin Herbert as a leader, right?
Agreed.
I think that could help him become a leader, right? So again, if I'm the owner, I would do that, whatever. So
100% makes sense to me.
I'm okay with it. Again, this is a Band-Aid at this point, Miguel. It's a Band-Aid. This is not a long-term situation, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. And again, they're playing for pride now. Oh my God. Jesus,
this
Lightning.
guy, dude. Lightning VR.
Joke,
he's a guy. He's trolling. He's trolling. Come on, guys.
Stop trolling.
The sad part of it is, is that the sad part of it is if you get Bill Belichick, you might get your boys. You might get Josh McDaniel there. That's the thing. Like, I would be scared for those type of hirings.
Oh my God,
Bill Belichick. I mean, I don't know. Oh gosh, boy. Oh, Nathaniel Hackett. Oh boy, no way.
You guys must be butter because you want to roll, man. I tell you what, dude. Oh yeah, and again, you're right. I think Bill's too old. I mean,
Agreed.
does the guy want to come to LA? I just don't get it, dude. Like the dude,
Yep.
bro. Like, come on.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. And thank you, Lightning VR. I appreciate that. We knew you were. We were just messing with you for sure. No, but guys, like, there's a lot to be said here. And we could talk about this forever. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see what we're going to do moving forward on this. I mean, look. So I'll wrap up my thoughts. Maybe you give your final thoughts too, James. Look, I'm excited to see these last 3 games. I'm curious to see how much influence Brandon Staley had all of this, right?
Yep.
Was he calling the plays? What is Moore going to do to change the offense? Again, he's got Easton Stick out there. Secondarily, how is the defense going to be different? Are we going to play? Are they going to play better under Ainsley? I would assume they would because dude, by the way, Pep Hamilton, I love that dude. He should not have been gone.
Yep.
I can't remember where he's at now. I think he's like a consultant somewhere or something of that nature.
I think he's with the Texans. I don't know either which way. Or he actually might be with the Eagles, actually.
Really?
Or
Colts,
we'll
have to double check that.
Colts, something like that.
But guys, like to me, let's see how these next 3 games can. Playoffs are done. Doesn't matter. At some point, obviously we're done. But I'm very curious to see how the offense changes, the defense changes, and I'm very curious to see what the attitude of the players are. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. So,
yep. Yeah, and then once again, I think this is my second final thoughts here, but
I know, right?
It's just one of those things, guys. Like I'm excited just to see the difference of this team. What if? And what's going to be sad about it is that, like I said, what if we end up winning the next 3 games, and it's like good quality base wins, like,
yep.
The season that could have been, the season that could have been. I mean, it would be really, really frustrating to see something like that, but it's a little too late at that point to be able to go back and make changes. But hey, guys, big things are going to come ahead from us. I'm glad to see that the Spanos has made a move and made a bold move. I think they're communicating with other head coaches out there that are potentially out there. They have got to be making those type of calls at this point. And I'm glad that they're listening to the fans at this point too. There's some owners out there that would probably say, hey, nope, we're going to roll with him again. We don't feel like he was the fault for this, but I think they've seen enough, and I'm glad to be able to see that they cut bait at this point, and they are looking to really, really just go out there and make the right move. I hope they make a bold championship type based move at this point. So,
yep.
Looking forward to it.
Well, I think there's a lot to be said about it. I think they should sit veterans. I mean, all these contracts, like Allen. I think Allen's done. I would not play Allen. I would put the rookies out there. I would let them, because at this point you got to see what you have as a team. And who's going to step up, who's going to continue playing. And by the way, here's my general thought on all this too. I think there's a lot of things that need to happen with this team. So let's say we get the 4th or 5th round pick. I think you trade back, man. You trade back, you try and get another first, and you try and get it maybe a second, maybe a third.
Yep.
You do the Bill Belichick. I mean, if you look back on all the histories of draft picks, to be fair, just because you're the 1st or 5th pick does not mean you're going to be successful in the NFL. So I don't know. I just think there's a lot to be said about that. Guys, there's going to be a ton of content coming your direction. We're just going to keep going. There's a lot to be, man, we could probably make this a 3-hour thing.
Easily.
But,
and by the way, HH4, I remember preseason building up to this season, you were saying that this is going to be a bad season. You nailed it on the head, bud.
Yeah.
Shout out.
You did. You did.
Shout out to
I think you're probably the only one that was really saying it was going to be that bad.
Yeah.
We were all thinking that, we were going to, anyways.
Yeah.
It is what it is, folks. So, all righty. Well, thank you for hopping on. Hey, content coming, like I said, I'll be heading down to Arizona. And guys, anybody who's in Arizona, please hit us up, bullprospodcast@gmail.com. Again, hit us up. Let us know. Rich just joined as soon as we're about to end here.
Here it is. See you, Rich. See you in a couple weeks, buddy.
See you, buddy. Yeah. But, there's a lot that needs to happen, man. So,
for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of content that could, boy, the memes guys are just ridiculous.
Oh, it's going.
Ridiculous.
It's going. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Rich. Not cool, bro. Appreciate it. Alrighty, guys. We're the Bolt
All right,
Bros.
guys. Let's
See you later.
go.